The Sopranos is one of my favorite TV shows. I have seen it numerous times. The show focuses on Tony Soprano, a mafia boss, and his toxic relationship with his mother, and how this contributes to him developing depression and panic disorder. I can relate to Tony partially because I also suffer from depression and panic attacks. One might dub The Sopranos misogynistic because the characters highlight what feminists call toxic masculinity. But the show hardly presents these men as positive examples of masculinity. Instead, they are cautionary tales. The show captures the pressures that many men face within these environments and the idea of male disposability. My name is Zarina Matcha, and you're watching The Rational Female. If you enjoy my content, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. The Sopranos focuses on two key areas: Tony's relationship with the men in his crime family and his relationship with his actual blood family. The men in the show are frequently killed off, and in one therapy session, Tony describes the men as soldiers. The historical idea of men dying in war as a mark of nobility runs deep in human history. The mafia mirrors that logic. Men swear loyalty, and if they step out of line, they are killed. Tony didn't get to choose this life. He was pulled into it by his father, Johnny Boy Soprano. Tony clearly doesn't want the same fate for his son, AJ. He wants AJ to have a normal life, not one where his identity revolves around the constant threat of death. Tony's unhappiness with the mob is especially clear in season 6, where he imagines himself as Kevin Finity, a traveling salesman. In season 2, it's disturbing how Tony, Paulie, and Silvio tell Pussy that he was like a brother to them and then shoot him dead on a boat after discovering that he is an informant. There is no chance at redemption, which is ironic considering they are all Catholics, a religion that supposedly emphasizes redemption and forgiveness. Christopher Moltisanti is a lot like Tony's spiritual son. He idolizes Tony. In season 1, Chris chooses the mob over his dreams of becoming a screenwriter, and in season 5, he ultimately chooses Tony over his fiancée Adriana after she is exposed as an FBI informant. Male sacrifice is often framed as protecting women and children, yet Christopher frequently abuses Adriana and shows little remorse after her death. Masculinity in this world is tied to sacrifice, but it's a bleak kind of sacrifice. You give up your chance at a normal life in exchange for one built around betrayal, violence, and constant danger. Despite Christopher's loyalty, it takes him years to gain the respect that he desperately wants. His drug addiction and Tony's distrust of him constantly undermines his status. In the end, Tony murders Chris after a car crash in season 6, deciding that Chris has become too much of a liability. Throughout the show, Tony frequently belittles Chris and even entertains the idea of sleeping with Adriana. Because of this pressure, Chris frequently takes out his frustration onto others, such as when he murders his friend JT after JT refuses to help him anymore. This world is rigidly hierarchical. Men at the bottom are treated poorly. We see this with Chris and also with Matt and Sean in season 2, who desperately want to be taken seriously but are mocked and destroyed by the very world they idolize. Furio represents the ideal man within this world. Calm, disciplined, and capable of violence without emotional chaos. In many ways, Furio represents the version of masculinity that Tony wishes he embodied. He is the strong, silent type. It's no surprise that Carmela becomes romantically infatuated with Furio. He is cultured, controlled, and treats Carmela with genuine care. By contrast, Tony is volatile, depressed, prone to panic attacks, and constantly overwhelmed by the pressures of his life. What's notable is that Furio ultimately chooses honor over desire. Rather than beginning an affair with the boss's wife, he just returns to Italy. The only man in the mob portrayed as consistently decent is Bobby Bacala. He is faithful to both his wives and never kills anyone until the last season. Bobby's death is one of the saddest in the show. He is killed while shopping for a model train set, which reflects a degree of innocence in his character compared to the other mobsters. It reinforces a grim truth. In this world, none of these men can escape. The show also highlights the mob's archaic attitudes towards sexuality. In the season 1 episode, Boca, Uncle Junior is mocked when it becomes known that he performs oral sex on his girlfriend because the men, absurdly, associate this with homosexuality. I can't think of a single homosexual man who would want to perform oral sex on a woman, but there you go. This hostility towards homosexuality becomes far more serious in the storyline involving Vito Spatafore in season 6. Vito is brutally murdered by Phil Leotardo's crew after his sexuality is discovered. I don't like Vito as a character, but the brutality of his death shows the extreme intolerance within that culture. Historically, many societies, often influenced by religious doctrine, have treated homosexuality as sinful. I think this is because male identity has historically been heavily tied to status and success with women, so homosexuality is viewed as a threat to that identity and can make one seem like less of a man. My novel Tic-Tac-Toe depicts a society where men are treated as second-class citizens and treated poorly under a neo-Marxist hierarchy of victimhood. You can check out the video trailer in the cards or description below, and I've also made a video discussing the book. Although the mobsters in The Sopranos are wealthy, powerful, and attractive to women, their lifestyle is far from enviable. Charmaine, the wife of Artie Bucco, constantly warns Artie not to become involved with Tony Soprano. In season 1, Tony's crew destroys Artie's restaurant because Tony's uncle plans to carry out a murder there. They justify it by saying that Artie can collect the insurance money. Ironically, Artie ends up in a very positive place by maintaining his marriage and rediscovering his passion for cooking. Life outside the mob proves far more stable. Charmaine and Dr. Melfi are among the most sensible characters in the show. They clearly see how destructive the mob world is. Interestingly, Melfi is played by Lorraine Bracco, who also played Karen Hill in the film Goodfellas, another great movie. Dr. Jennifer Melfi is actually my favorite character, and I would argue the best character on the show. Her internal struggle, recognizing Tony as a deeply dangerous man while still feeling drawn to him, is compelling and relatable. Dysfunctional and dangerous people can often be magnetic. When I first watched the show, I found the ending of Tony and Melfi's relationship to be unsatisfying, but now I see it as a positive win for Melfi. She ultimately walks away from Tony, who throughout the show is abusive and manipulative, and that decision feels like a victory. Melfi also refuses to ask Tony for revenge in the season 3 episode Employee of the Month after she is assaulted by a man whom Tony could easily have killed. Many viewers, including myself, hated that she didn't tell Tony, but it reflects her refusal to become morally entangled with the mob. The female characters in The Sopranos are hardly portrayed as fragile victims. Livia and Janice are deeply manipulative. Meadow is spoilt and intelligent. Carmela is one of the most fascinating characters. She benefits financially from Tony's lifestyle while tolerating his constant infidelity. She knew exactly the type of man he was when she married him. I may do a future video analyzing the portrayal of women in The Sopranos. Ultimately, the mafia world depicted in The Sopranos is cold, unforgiving, and destructive. It isn't a path to fulfillment. It's closer to a slow death sentence. It's striking how masculinity and honor are tied to one's readiness to die. This idea echoes arguments made by Warren Farrell in The Myth of Male Power, the long historical pattern of male sacrifice and male disposability.